everyone, and welcome to the Metaphysical Hour. I'm Julia Cannon, and this is my co-host, Tracie Mahan. Yay. And we have as our moderator, Tiffany.
Yay. I feel like we need to have horns and whistles and confetti because I am always so excited to have Tiffany here to moderate that chat room. So
Yes.
that brings us to, how do you get your questions answered when you're trying to get Tiffany's attention? Do you want to say it?
Tiffany in big capital letters.
Yeah. And if you really want her attention, maybe even do that a couple of times. Tiffany, Tiffany, Tiffany.
I would say put hearts.
Hearts are good. All right. Yeah, everybody's coming in the chat room. We're excited. We're here. We're live. Woo-hoo.
We are all excited. So Tracie, now I saw you're posting. You had a fun experience last week.
I did.
Let's talk about that.
So I got invited to go to a horse sanctuary. So and it was just such a neat experience. I don't even know how to ball that all up into a conversation, but the land itself is very healing, and it's very Native American vibration there. And the gal that invited me, she was one of my QHHT clients, and we looked at the land in her session, and she had had many lifetimes there, but not just many lifetimes. It got even cooler than that, because this was not only, hey, we're going to look at your human life, but it was also, hey, we're going to look at your ET lives.
Oh, very
cool. That just gives me chills talking about, and how the lifetimes as the extraterrestrial, working in a grid system that was being created. Lante's got to get up in her spot, so excuse me. But anyway, so this grid system was being created within the land, and she spent many lifetimes in the human form coming in to help set the grids. And so chills again. Anyway, so she came across this land, at a time where I think it was, remember the big crash and all the things, and the land, they got it at a really good price and weren't sure what they were going to do with this place. But as it evolved, they turned it into a horse sanctuary for not just rescue horses, but here in Oregon, they have wild horse reserves. And apparently they're allowed to collect the wild horses up every once in a while, or like once a year or something like that. And then they sell them.
Oh, okay.
And so
still wild horses out there.
So the wild horses have this mark on the side of their neck. And it's like they do this, instead of branding, they do this freeze thing, and what it does is kills the pigment in the hairs. So the branding looks like white hair growing in a certain pattern, kind of like a tattoo or something, Right. But anyway, so the wild horses from the rescue horses, because they have this, but they're all used to humans at this point. So we got to go out. They took us out on their little, I don't know, 4-wheeled device thing, where we're all sitting there. We get out there, and we meet the first horses, which there was mules and donkeys out there with them too, because they'll keep the coyotes away.
I've heard that. So cool. I saw that on an improvement show. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're out there. You don't want to bring your dog around one of them. They'll stomp your dog. But anyways, these animals they see them coming. They know they got treats in that rig. Right. And so they all come, they're like little puppies. They all come up and they're coming around. They're waiting for their turn to get their little treat. And this was my first experience. So I'm sitting in there going, I'm not sure, I'm hearing wild horses. So I'm like, I'm going to stay in the
How wild are they?
And then they're all out there going, babies, and they're petting them and they're loving on them. And I'm thinking, we can get out and actually pet the horses. So then I knew I could do that. And there was 3 different sections with horses in it. So that was the first one. Then they took us way out. And we're still on this land, right? This is their land. And we go to this dry creek, and inside that creek it was like going to Arkansas, where we went on the crystal dig. There was like stones and crystals and all kinds of things that were being, sorry, I had something pop up over there I had to take care of. Anyways, all of these all these beautiful crystals and different stones and what's the one that they make the jewelry out of? The Indians were making the jewelry out of the jasper and stuff.
The turquoise.
Turquoise, just all kinds of stuff. It was just everywhere. Like we're driving, and she goes, stop, and she jumps out and she pulls up this piece that's like this big, puts it in there. I'm like, man, how did you even see that? So we're driving through and she just stop.
Got the eye for it. She knows what to look for.
Yeah. And so my son Josh went, and then she has two fellas that work on the ranch for her that are brothers, and they're very connected to the land. And so one of them, Sam, I think was his name, brought us out there, and he's walking around. He's like, can you guys feel the energy of this spot over here? And I'm like, you're my people. And so and then we get Josh out there, and he's like, oh, there's a fairy ring over here. I'm like, what's the fairy ring? Oh yeah, I guess and so the stones were all like, the two guys were out there, us girls are sitting there going, do you feel anything? Yeah, I mean, I can feel that it's got a high vibration. And they're out there going, do you feel the fairies over here? Can you feel this portal over here? And we're like, that was supposed to be us. These guys they're just feeling all the energy. We went through there was like this little cluster of 4 or 5 trees, and you could actually feel walking through it, the energy change. It was really cool. So this is all happening in the first like hour that we're there. And then we get to go up and meet the second set of horses in another pasture, and they come running up to us the same way. And they have some yearlings there, younger ones, and they're just loving on us like sweet little babies do, and it was like, to tear us away from there. We were only there one night, and it was like, that just wasn't enough. It was like, I don't want to beat the babies. And like, and then we're up petting. We spent the whole next morning just going from fence to fence, and they were coming up, and we were just petting them and just spending a lot of time with them.
So you stayed there that night?
Yeah, she had enough room for us to stay with her and she has a log cabin on the property, and then she has the horse barn, and she has a shop and stuff. So there was lots of room. And it was just really cool, and what a special treat that was. And so thank you, Angela, if you are watching this. Thank you. It is called the Broken Arrow Horse Sanctuary. Let me make sure I am getting that correct.
And it's in Oregon?
It's in Oregon. It's not open to the public, but she is thinking about holding retreats there and trying to figure out what that would look like. So it could open up. But if you love horses and you love somebody that loves horses enough to rescue them and put them on their property, go to Broken Arrow Ranch and Sanctuary.com and donate. They could always use the help. I did not realize the cost that goes into not just purchasing the horse to rescue it, but then transporting it to the ranch, and then having the vet checkups. They have to quarantine them. They have to quarantine them in case if any of them are sick. They don't want to get the rest of the herd sick.
Right.
And so there's costs and all of that. Yeah, there's so many different expenses. I was like, oh my goodness. And she's just getting started in this. So she had 3 different groups. One of them had just gotten there. We got there Thursday. That group had gotten there. There was 5 horses, and they had just gotten there Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So they had them in quarantine, but one of them was a little full, little white, beautiful little horsey. And then, then there was a baby mule there. And then some of the yearlings were also just absolutely adorable, because that you can tell by the way that they're behaving, you can tell that they're still young. It's like you're petting one and it'll come up and be like, no, pet me, and doing the little childlike things. So it was just a blast, and I can't wait, and I hope to get to go again. And if she does open that up for retreats, then that would be something that would be lovely to have there.
Yeah, plus all the energy that's there. It's just
absolutely, yeah. It's like, the horses are phenomenal enough, but then you're on this energy as well.
Magical land,
and to just give you an example, we've talked about how sensitive Josh is, right? Like he's really really intuitive and very empathic. And as soon as we moved out of the forest, because Oregon's one of those places where yes, it's got lots of forest on the ocean side, but when you go eastern Oregon, it's high desert. So,
okay.
so we come off the mountain and out of the forest and into the high desert, and it's like somebody drew a line and said, no more forestry trees here. So then it was like, as far as the eye could see, and scattered trees, but as far as the eye could see, you've got the brush and the just open land. And Josh actually sighed. He went, oh. I was like, are you okay? And he goes, this is like freedom. And I'm like, dude, you must have had a life as a cowboy or something, or an Indian, or one of those, because he saw that open land and it was freedom to him. And he was like,
Yeah.
It would just be my dream to grab a horse and my dog and just ride around and just explore this all day.
Have you ever been to, that area between Sedona and Phoenix? I mean, Scottsdale, that area. It's like you step back in time when you go and drive through there, and it's like you can see the Indians and the cowboys. I wonder what he'd feel there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was sitting there going, see that little cove over there? I would make a camp there. I would put up a fire there and just sleep under the stars. Like he's talking like he's in it, and then when I said, are you going to be ready to leave in the morning? He goes, no. And then when we did have to leave, we're getting ready to load up. I said, are you sad? And he goes, I want at least 5 more days here. I was like, well, we only got one night, so we gotta go. But definitely he resonated. I'd never seen him click so much with something. And then he took a whole bunch of pictures for her and was working on those for the last few days and getting that sent off to her as well. So then he's reminiscing about all of this. And so yeah, I'm hoping we'll get to go back and experience some more of that. It was pretty cool. So I'm going to shout that out again. It is Broken Arrow Ranch and Sanctuary.com. And if you feel pulled to it, go check out the horse pictures they do have up there, but also, throw a little donation. Here, I'm going to show you one of the pictures. Like you were kind of giving me a funny eye when I said they got the tattoo or like that. So if I can pull this up. Do you see that mark right there?
Not yet. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. On the side of the neck.
Yeah, right here.
Right.
So that was a horse that was wild and had been gathered. And then this is one of the young ones. So cute. And then of course we got your donkey.
Oh,
the mules and the donkeys were they are so funny. You would think that they grew up in front of the camera, like they saw Josh bring out his camera and they would run up and they're posing. So that was a lot of fun.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
anyway, that was my experience.
Yeah, you were talking about the grid work and things like that, about work that had been done on grids in other lives and things like that. So on that note, is everybody saying where they're from so that they're lighting up their grid?
Yeah, let's see. We've got Verde Valley, is that right? We've got the Dominican Republic, we got Utah, we've got there's a lot to go through here. Ontario, Canada.
You guys are lighting up your grids.
Yes, light up the grids, light them up. There was Nova Scotia. We've got, every time I put my mouse on it, and then it puts a blue bar over it. So that's why we got France, we've got San Diego, we've got the Philippines, we got Springfield, Missouri, California, Brisbane, Australia.
Shout out to Springfield, Missouri. That's where Tiffany was born.
Aw, look at that, home sweet home. I'm sure there's more on there. You guys, thank you. Maine, Marin City, Michigan, Metro Detroit. Yeah, now everybody's doing it. All right, we're lighting up Tennessee, Delaware, North Carolina. They're all getting in here.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you guys.
And
I mean, really, it means
Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. What?
Tammy. Maybe you know Tammy.
Maybe. My next door neighbor.
Pretty much. I like that. Yeah. All right. So it looks like Tiffany's pinned a couple of questions. Do we want to
Oh,
go to the
wonderful.
questions, or you
Yeah,
got more
absolutely. Yeah.
to share?
No, I just, and I thank everybody for, I mean, this is really, I know it may sound glib, but really you are lighting up, you're showing yourself, and that goes through all of the ethers, all of the, what's coming in here, all the dimensions, all these things. It's like you're doing so much when you do that. So it's a big deal. Besides
Yeah.
giving me a high, it's a big deal.
Oh, Patrick is saying he's going in for his first QHHT session in July. Hey, Patrick, go in with an open mind. He's going in for his first session to have one.
Okay.
So go with an
wonderful.
open mind and just let it be your session.
Yes.
Just enjoy it.
No expectations, just have fun.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Exactly.
So, yay.
I am laughing over here because Luna insisted on being in my room and Josh couldn't get her out. They were witnessing a little chaos of trying to get the dogs out before we started, you guys. And now Luna didn't want to go. She's hiding under my feet. She's not doing it. And as soon as he shuts that door and leaves and we go live, she went over and started scratching at the door. She's puffing and puffing. And so if you guys hear that, I'm just letting it happen. It's like a child throwing a tantrum in a grocery store. Like, no, you had your chance.
Yeah, you missed it.
So,
yes.
All the goodies.
I'm feeling something. I cannot put my finger on it. So be interesting to see what questions are here, because I just saw something. There's something. I
making the face. Yeah.
I don't have a grasp of it yet. I just know, I don't know if it's a burning question. I don't know if it's there's a something. There's a something out there. How about that for
that clears it all up, you guys. Don't you feel
when I hear it?
That's hilarious.
Okay, so Tiffany, you have some questions?
I have a couple. Let's see. So this individual says downloads coming in from the sun, yet smoke is making it harder to get outside. Is there a reason for this?
So I'm assuming there's smoke.
What? Sorry, repeat.
The downloads or the smoke? What the reason for what? The downloads or the smoke?
The downloads are coming from the sun. And
the smoke is making it hard to get outside.
What smoke?
I'm assuming they're talking about the fires that are happening up in Canada, and it's extending across the different lots of different areas.
Yeah, it says yes, Canadian wildfires.
Okay. What I'm getting is, okay, and you probably had something. I'm sorry, Tracie.
We're probably getting the same thing. So the daylight is important. Can you get near? I've been getting messages that, we need to get out in the daylight, that there are new codes coming in. So the daylight is important, and I understand the air quality is bad, but if you could stand by the window, even that would help.
Seeing what I got was it'll get to you whether you're inside or outside. So, downloads are downloads, and they are coming. Yeah, they're coming in. So, but I agree. I mean, if you can get in the sun, then that's a direct, especially if you can in the morning. If you ever do that sun gazing, you just.
I did that at the ranch.
It's so nice. But you want to do it in the morning or in the evening when
just
the sun's it's just
when it's at its lowest point, but you can stare at it. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's filtered through trees, that's nice too, but it's something. And then I remember the one time I was really called to do this. We were in Eureka Springs, and every morning I was walking over to the class. It was like 2 mornings in a row. And something told me just stop and just, close my eyes and just look at the sun. And I'm doing this, and I could just feel the stuff coming in, but I was seeing, then it started, it was like I could see these rays or whatever. Then all of a sudden they started changing, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. Something just happened. It's like there's stuff in that, what comes in. And we know, there's downloads. And that's what was happening. It's downloading.
Absolutely. Yeah, very cool. So sorry, I get distracted. I know Tiffany's watching this, but
what's something is your intention is really, really valuable. So if you have the intention, I mean, you're going to receive them anyway, but if you have the intention of, I want to receive these downloads, see, you'll bring them in. They will.
Exactly. I got a message the other day. somebody was really connected to Egypt.
Mhm.
But the question was, do they actually need to be physically in
Yeah.
Egypt in order to have that information that's supposed to be coming to them from Egypt? And the answer was no.
Yeah.
You can do remote whatever, astro travel to Egypt. You don't have to be physically there. Like Julia and I aren't physically in the same room, but we're able to still share this time. So yeah, so we don't necessarily have to physically be somewhere, just like you said, set that intention. And
Yeah, and that's where pictures are really cool. You can do it. You have the intention if you're feeling it, but just you might go into light meditation, something, whatever, but it's just your intention of being there puts you in that vibration. It's amazing. See, that's where there's no time or space. We think we have to physically be something. No, that we're energetic beings. We will energetically be there if our intent is that, and we are visualizing, if we're imagining it, whatever, it puts our energy in that space.
Absolutely. What do they say? It's all an illusion anyway, right? So we're just, where do you want to be in this illusion? Just
absolutely
bounce out and go visit it. So now, did that take care of that feeling that you were having?
It's a lighter, yeah, it's lighter. So maybe it did. It wasn't an aha, that's it feeling. It was just, it is not there, or it's lighter. We'll
All
see.
right. We'll see. We'll see what this next question is.
Mhm.
All right, Tiffins.
Well, to add on to what you just spoke about, can crystals help with downloads or just the sun?
Crystals are powerful. Some people think they need all these gadgets and gadgets, and if that's what you believe and you feel good using them, that's fine. They amplify. Crystals are amplifiers, so they can amplify things, and there are probably certain uses. I don't know all the uses for crystals. I think you know more about them than I do.
It's
Tracie.
really funny because this little tray of crystals right here is from when I visited you in Arkansas, and we went to the crystal dig, and this one had jumped out. And look how tiny that is.
I know, it's little bitty.
They're tiny, but some of them were little bigger chips. But all of them were from that dig that we did.
Yeah.
And I just noticed today that this one jumped out, and I thought, how in the heck did you get out of that dish? But I was told that there are certain crystals that they're like a computer chip, they hold information and knowledge.
Well, I think they use quartz crystals in computers, don't they? And that's what those are. Those are quartz crystals.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably a real thing. Yes.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I held it.
Computer people out there will know.
So I don't think I really actually know what the answer to what it wanted to tell me was, but it jumped out of the dish to do it. So
maybe you were
held it
just
for a
supposed to
minute.
hold it, just like you
Yeah,
did.
I did.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I know that, everything's energy, right? Everything holds a
Right.
frequency and consciousness. And I think we were talking about this before. It's like, just ask them. So you can talk to the crystals, they're consciousness. You can talk to rocks and water and air and birds and trees and plants. And so the chair you're sitting in.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for holding me.
Thanks for holding me up. And my little dog too. I sound a little bit like
my little dog too.
Wizard of Oz. Thank you for holding me and my dog too, because it's right back here. Yeah.
But what the thing is, like when you were first saying that, some people think I need things to help them do other things, and that's what it's like. We really don't need all these gadgets and gadgets and all the and bells and whistles and things like that. You really don't need them. You can do these things all by yourself, but they help. I mean, like you're saying, crystals amplify. So if you want to, you can. They're not absolutely necessary, is what I'm trying to say. But if you know how to use them, that's go for it. It all comes down to your intent. We're going to say that over and over again.
I know what this one is, because someone's asking in the chat room, what crystal are you wearing? And it's not I don't know if that's a blue, what's a lapterite or?
No, it's not the lapis lazuli. That's a dark blue is a lapis lazuli.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. This was given to me by a friend of mine in Malta, Italy, and she makes this line of jewelry, and she sent it to me. and I'm horrible at naming crystals, so I'm showing it to everyone because someone
It
asked.
matches
"What
your
am I wearing?"
top so beautifully. Mhm.
Well, she's given me so many beautiful pieces of jewelry that I have something that'll match anything I have in my closet at this point. I'm just like, which one? So yeah, I'm like a kid in a necklace store.
A kid in a necklace store.
It's like, thank you. Yeah, I really do like wearing the crystals and the different things. So I wish I had your answer. But
You
anyway.
know, and like lapis is supposed to be really good. It's supposed to help you with if you speak, if you're talking, if you orate, you know, it's supposed to be very good to help you with that. But see, again, it all comes down to, and that's where, okay, this is what's coming in. You know, so here we say it's good for that. And so if you do that and you wear it, it's like, oh yes, I did much better because I had that on, because that was your belief. See, so and it probably does, but then it's your belief. You know, it did it and it worked. And so there we believe it does. So then it will continue to work. I mean, there's stuff in both, but you know, that they have them that do different things. They have strengths.
Yeah.
And, the one, oh, what's the one that's from Meteorite? That's one I can really feel that one. I know. Somebody in the chat. I know you know it.
Well, I'm being distracted because Kim put in here labradorite or labrador light, LABRADOR, and then light like LIGHT.
No, not that one. But that I know I've heard of that, but I'm not sure. I'll know this when I hear it. It's
Moldavite.
Moldavite. That's it. Moldavite.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you,
yes.
Kathy.
Yes. That one. That's a powerful one. I mean, that's a really funny one. I know when someone gave it to me, usually it's given to you. Pay attention to see how that usually comes into your life. It's usually given to you. I have never purchased one. I've never gotten one for myself. At one time I had 3 and they were all given to me. And then they would leave. I mean, they disappear and then they come back.
Oh yeah.
Other people say that a lot. The first one was given to me. I knew nothing about it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so I put it on and I was wearing it during a class. I was teaching with Mom. And about halfway through the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't understand what's going on. I think I was starting to hurt. I don't remember all the things that was happening, but I was like, oh, and they said, take that off. And I'm like, what? They're like, take that off. You've been wearing it a long time. I'm like, oh, really? There's a problem? And so I took it off and sure enough, everything stopped. And so they're like, yeah, you have to get up to it gradually. So
yeah, here's the one you were talking about.
yes, the lapis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized I had it hanging behind me.
There we go.
In my Daniel eye.
And that's like the extent of my knowledge of crystals. I mean, it's just my own personal experience with them, and that's about it. So
yeah,
I think they're great, and some people are masters with them. They have all this knowledge and know what to do.
Feel them, they can talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you said, and they store things. That's where, you know, like the Atlanteans, they stored all their wisdom in crystals. You know, all their knowledge, they put them in crystals whenever they knew what was happening. And so if you think about it, that's like a giant computer mainframe. You know, it's all the memory and in the crystals.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
All right, so I think we're ready. You're getting compliments on your blouse, just so you know.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So there you go.
I like this color. Yeah, I like this. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready, Tiffy. She's gonna show these days for all the nicknames, right?
Hey, Tiffins, Tiffers. Oh, you want me to tell them what I call you?
Whatever. I answered anything, probably because of that. I'm just kidding.
Tifferdoodle.
Tifferdoodle.
Mm-hmm.
Aw,
She's been called ever since she was little. It's Tifferdoodle.
Aw. Did she use that little voice too, Tiffy? The Tifferdoodle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So you guys want to know the backstories of Julia and of Dolores? Well, here it is. They They called Tiffany Tifferdoodles.
Yep.
I love it.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It really does. I like it. So where's everybody's questions tonight? That's what I want to know. You guys need to keep Tiffany busy. Chop,
I
chop.
know. I'm hoping I'm not missing any, but so I apologize if I have. But here's the one that we do have.
Okay.
I came across a video of Tracie channeling Daniel last week.
Okay.
Can she share more about that if there's time? I did a QHHT session, and when I asked to speak to the client's SC, they said they were Daniel. This was a couple of months ago.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, it is a collective, so and it can be it can come through more than one person. So Daniel is a collective of Octurian beings. There's 7 of them. The one that speaks through me is, what I'm being told is that is an incarnation of me in Octurus. That
makes sense.
Yeah. As a masculine, sarcastic version of me in Octurus, and I come through as Daniel. Daniel's the one that I call him Daniel. And it's really likely that is what they want to be called, because I didn't want to call my Octurian Daniel, but it stuck and it would not budge. So it was like, all right, that's what it is then. So yeah, that came through at my level 2 training in Arkansas, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which you guys kept telling me, well, there's so many crystals up here. So I'm segueing it into the crystals, right? Because I think that we were calling it Crystal Mountain at one point, and there was just a lot of magic that week that we were there in Arkansas. And I went home channeling, and then they told me that this collective was Daniel. They're my gatekeepers. I like to call them gatekeepers. They just, if something wants to channel through me, it's got to go through them. So I love having them around. They've changed my life. I look at world a whole lot different through their eyes. So it's been a fascinating thing. And I do offer sessions with Daniel on my website. So that's what that was about. Seeing a video of me. I have a YouTube channel with that on it. So messages from Daniel. But, yeah.
You know, and that thought of that collective, because I was just thinking when you said the collective and it's a group, and I was thinking, Abraham Hicks, that's what she calls. That's what Abraham is.
Abraham, yeah.
The collective, and so it's the same idea. So that's where, see, it's not unusual. It's not, it's just, this is yours. and it makes total sense that is you. And it's like, we don't look at it as like, oh, it's a past life or like that. It's probably a simultaneous life.
I mean, it's, Well, you're the one that tells the story about how big our soul is, and we're just this itty bitty speck aspect of that soul. So why would we have that kind of ability and only come in one little aspect of it? You know, so of course we're experiencing life. Our soul is experiencing life in many different forms. So
and that's where that simultaneous, because there is no time. It's all concurrent. So makes sense. And that's what Mom denied this. We'll bring in a little bit of Mom here. But when she was doing the work with Nostradamus, and as it kept going, or later as it was going on everything, it made sense to me that was maybe one of her incarnations, because then they're connecting through time. I mean, look at the, because it's the chances of this happening. It's like, it totally made sense that although it's explained how they connected and why they connected, it just kept feeling like, I think this is another of her incarnations, but she completely denied it. So I'm not going to start a rumor or anything, but that was just a feeling I kept having. It made sense. That was sensical to me. It's like, okay. And he kept saying, I'm not dead. I'm still alive. And it was just things that were happening. It was just a feeling I had. So whether it is or not, that was just my gut.
Yeah. No, and
Nostradamus, put that one out there, that'll go around. So
that'll make its rounds. And it's such a really cool story too, that connection, that whole transmission. So go read the book.
Yeah, but you see how it's like you have, the transmission, the connection. See,
Yeah.
What would be so weird about that? And it makes sense that we would connect with our other parts. That's what's happening, you know?
And I hope to not offend anyone, but how do we think the Bible was written? You know, those were channeled. The Bible was written how many hundreds of years after Jesus died on the cross? And so these were channeled messages, you know, or that would be my opinion and only my opinion. You can share it or not, it doesn't matter.
Well, I think, wasn't it stories that had been
parables and different that have been passed down over time.
Passed down, that was the word, right? Yeah, passed down.
Yeah.
And probably when it came to, you know, I say it's either how they remembered it from the passing down and hoping that the details stayed intact, or filled in with
exactly,
especially as you get toward the end of the Bible, I think, because they have people with visions and all these things. That sounds very channeled.
Well, and they referred to the chariots in the sky too.
Yeah.
So ET much?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ET.
Yeah. So yeah, we can all interpret however we want, right? So
absolutely, that's the beauty of it. You know, there is no right, there's no wrong. What feels right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're connected in so many different ways. And if I've learned anything through that experience with the Octurians, is that we are connected to so much. And when we understand that and can expand outside of ourselves, we understand that this is just one experience we get to have. We get to connect with this physical body and have this experience, but then we can go into meditation or altered states and astral travel and move around and communicate and go into infinite knowledge, Akashic records, whatever you want to call it, because really it's all labels that we give it. So it's whatever you want to call it.
Whatever labels and limitations we give.
Yeah. So,
or whatever boundaries, and that's our human mind doing that. Because these are limitless things. It's like that picture I draw, and it's like, how do you draw something that is limitless? It has no limit, but I'm on a confined piece of, you know, material. And that's what we do. It's like, how do we adapt to this? So you have to really open your mind and use your imagination as to what
the imagination is the key, isn't it? It's just the key to everything. If we could understand that. And for those of you that are having your first session, because there's 2 people that posted that.
Wonderful. Okay.
So for those of you going into your first session, my advice to my clients is play in the imagination. That's how they get the information to us, because we get out of that critical mind and we get into the playful mind. And speaking of playful, I just had Luna just came up and gave me a nice lathering on.
That's nice. Well, I was gonna say, you know, and sometimes the conscious mind, and you might be going, it's like, oh, well, I was just imagining things, and you want to use it as a defense. But I'm telling you, you have to look at, where does that imagination come from? Where are those things coming from? So that's why you want to go ahead and lean into imagination, because that's where this information is. It doesn't mean you're making anything up. It doesn't mean you're just creating stuff out of nothing. It comes from this part. Why do you think it's there? Why didn't you imagine something else? So just allow yourself to just see whatever happens. And that's just go with it. Have fun.
Have fun is what I tell me. Just have fun. Get into the childlike wonderment. Let the information come through. Sometimes it can be emotional, but that's also reaffirming that there's something to this process. So yeah, it's interesting. So my last client, she said, am I going to cry? I said, you know, it's possible. And she had this whole idea of this, if we touch on this part, I'm going to end up crying. It wasn't it at all. It was when she went to this place and she saw this land, and she was a man in that lifetime trying to till that land and work that land. And that's what made her cry, is seeing that land and how hard she worked at it and all the things. And that's what made her cry. So we never know. We never know what's going to happen.
And lady be like, why was I crying about that?
Yeah. She was like, I was so surprised. And we touched on the other subject that she thought she would cry on. Nothing. She looked at it. She got the process of it. And then that land, and it didn't matter where that land got brought up, because I think it got brought up 3 times in that session, throughout that parts of the session, and every time it struck the emotion. And then when we talked about it afterwards, she's still wiping the tears, and she goes, "What is it about this land?" I said, "You're healing something really big here." So, allow for that to come through. But, the land was very special to her, and in many ways, obviously. So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, you just never know. All
You
right, I
don't
think
know.
we do have more questions.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So, I guess this is another kind of Daniel, but they asked, has Daniel spoke about the Stargate where they process souls in between lives?
So, it's probably going to get interpreted a little different through Daniel. So Daniel's not an angel. He's not like an all-seeing God. He is an energy. He is informed just like us, and he's just very psychic and aware. So that's going to get looked at a little differently. It'd be like asking a super version of me to look at that. But so the processing of souls, the Stargate of processing souls after we die, is that what the question was?
Yes, sorry. What processing of souls in between life? Yes.
Okay. I don't know that I've actually had anybody ask that of Daniel, because I noticed that what I keep referring to is past life regressions through QHHT and that process. So I don't know that I could answer that through a Daniel aspect of it, but we certainly can through QHHT.
Right. Yeah, because they go through that all the time. And I don't know so much about a process. I mean, Mom might have seen more one because she was really studying that when she was really intently working on the between lives part.
Yeah.
And so what we see is, they go places, they go, so there is a process and that they go, but it's not like filing in like they do so many times on these shows. It's like this long line of people filing in and okay, you're here. It's like, it doesn't seem to be going like that.
No, and they don't tend to have form at this point. They're in the soul body. But I have had, and again, this isn't a QHHT session, but it kind of ties into the Daniel aspect, where this client, when she went through releasing of the physical body that she went through the past life in, she got brought up on a ship and returned to a body that she was incarnated in there. And then she debriefed from that lifetime. And so she was actually, I don't know what you'd call it, transfer of consciousness or whatever. If you've watched Avatar, she was in the little cylinder, and her consciousness was transferred to an earth body, and she went through a whole experience and went back and reported on it. It was very fascinating. But
that makes, and I've had an experience just like that, where I was, in a session and I saw it from that cylinder thing. It's like you're in the cylinder, and then it shows how that branches out to all these other existences, and then all that information feeds back. So that makes total sense that when that ends, it's feeding back into that cylinder. In other words, you're going back and processing, maybe reintegrating back with that. Total sense.
What was fun is she went back into, I think she said it was a feminine body. She went to a room to decompress, but she was passing people in the hallway, and she had just lived 80 some years in a lifetime on Earth. And then she was passing people in the hallway, and she goes, "Well, I know them, but they don't seem to look at me like I've been gone for a long time, like a regular work day." So time is such a interesting.
And we hear that a lot. It's like I've not been gone. They're just, I was just gone. It was a blip.
They're
welcoming me back.
Experiencing lifetimes within a lifetime, I guess. So and then she went and sat in this I guess like a council. It would be like the thing that people say with death scenes. We reviewed the life, we did the life review, and how could I have done it different or better, or would I have changed anything? And then we set up another life for me to experience, and she did it again. So that was one, but most of them will go into a light or a space I've had some say, I'm just sitting in this room. It's very light in here. It's like, okay, what are you doing? I'm just relaxing. I get to have some time off, and it's nice to not have to do anything. And so, it's
Yeah.
always enjoyable. And
Mhm.
I haven't had anybody be stressed out at any point in
No,
place.
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. Even in the very beginning, when they just see themselves rise up out of the body,
Mhm.
they're already feeling the relief. It's that soon.
Yeah.
So they're already feeling it. And looking back on it, going kind of like that whole thought, well, I did that, but it's kind of, yeah. So
And sometimes they look back and they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That looks bad.
About?
That body is old. I was hanging on to that body for what?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why did I hang on so long if I could be in this?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a good question, actually. That was kind of fun. I can't answer it from a Daniel perspective,
Right.
but definitely from our QHHT.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we see it firsthand, what's happening.
Yeah. Or experience it in our own regressions, right?
Exactly.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. For all of those people who haven't had a QHHT session, let's ask Julia, what is that exactly?
Oh, what is a QHHT session? Quantum healing hypnosis technique. And my mother created this technique. Tiffany's grandmother created this technique and developed it over 40, 50 years of working with thousands and thousands of people. But what it does is, one, you can see other lives. Okay, that's the first step. You can see whatever's relevant, and that's where we go. It's like you have a higher self, and this is putting you in contact with that part of you that knows everything, and it knows why it brought you there, and it will show you what's relevant to your life now. So any life you are taken to, that's why you're taken there, is because there's something of relevance to this life now. And that's healing, to see things from different perspectives. So that's what you're usually getting, is a different perspective. Because when you can see it from that, it's not this life you're a little close to, but if you can see it from another perspective of another life, another person, that makes a big difference. So anyway, that's what it's doing. You're seeing these different things to help get you answers to your questions. You're contacting this part of yourself that has all the answers.
Can you answer why all of a sudden I can't stop coughing?
Yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
What you got to say?
I don't know. You start talking about answers, and all of a sudden I can't clear my throat.
Well, it'd be like, usually when you get choked up like that or can't talk, it means there's something you need to say.
Yeah, what do I need to
I
say?
don't know. The
What are your
answers choked you
answers?
up, so you got answers?
Oh, I do. So
Okay.
you're talking about that with there was something that I wanted to say right before that happened. So I don't know if that meant it was important or shut your mouth. I don't know, but I'm gonna say it. So when you were talking about that, it popped in my head. The SC is it's not there to entertain you.
Right. Mm-mm.
It's not going, oh, you wanted to go to a lifetime where you had fun and
Yeah.
blah blah
Or you
blah.
were the king of whatever, or
Yeah,
you were
where
the fairy princess,
you
or
had the easiest life ever and you got to do everything you ever wanted to do. No, we're not taking you to that one. We're going to take you over here to this one. You're going to watch yourself suffer and do all these
whatever.
things, right? Whatever it is.
Mhm.
Just like if in mediumship people come in and they're like, I want to talk to so and so or so and so, and it's like, Aunt Betty's here. Why is she here? It's like,
Yeah, that's who. Why is she here?
and it's the one that, oh, you didn't like her? No, I didn't like her. I didn't like the way she treated mom. Okay, well, then we need to resolve that. That's why she's here.
Maybe that's why she's here. Yeah.
So they're more interested in the healing aspects than the entertainment aspects of any of it.
Yeah, there's stuff that has to be done. So if you're being shown something, there's always a reason that you're being shown something.
Yeah.
So that's what the session is about, just to find out why. Why do you need to see this? What's going on? And everything, it all comes together, and it's not for you to figure it out. So if you're aware in your session and you see these things going on, it's not for you to figure out, why am I being shown this? Okay, it will all come together. Your higher self will tell you exactly why when you get to that part.
Yes. Thank you for that, because that's a golden nugget there. Don't try to figure it out while you're in it.
Right.
I just had a client that that did that and recognized that she did it at the end. And as a practitioner, unless you're telling us you're doing that, that you're in there trying to figure it out as you go, we're not understanding that that's process is happening. So do yourself a favor and just be in whatever is coming and let it happen. And it's recorded. You can go listen to it later and try to figure it out, but be in it.
Yeah.
So,
You'll get the answers. You'll get everything. It all gets wrapped up in a nice, neat little package with a bow on top by the end of it. Okay.
Yeah, a smiling face.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So do we have time for another question?
Oh yeah, let's do another one. Wow, that went fast.
It did. It went really fast.
Okay. What would be the best and easiest way for me to contact my higher self?
QHHT session.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to always be promoting that, but that's one of the things I think is really cool about QHHT is that's what it does. It puts you in contact with that part of yourself, with your higher self, so that you understand, you recognize it now and how to do it in a conscious state. So see, it's just showing you now, you know what it feels like, what it sounds like, all the parts about it. Because I guarantee you're already in touch with it, but you don't recognize it. You don't know what it feels like and what it looks like and all these things and what it sounds like. So a session shows you that. And it also establishes that connection. I'm going like this. It's like I see all these things in my head, you know, like you're establishing that connection and you're making it stronger. And then that's a little bit more too. I mean, you can do it on your own, but it's a matter of when you're shown what it looks like and what it feels like. See, it's a feeling too. Then you know you can do it all the time.
And here's another little beautiful piece to having a session. You have a facilitator that's going to grill that SC for you. Why is it like that? Why is she doing it? Why is that going to help her? How is that going to look for her? What's that going to do for her when she leaves the office today? You don't do that to yourself when you're talking to your SC. You're not getting all the answers. Like that's part of what we do is we get in there and we nitpick that answer until we don't think we can get anything else for you with that answer. So
absolutely.
You know, a session will provide you that bigger, broader perspective because you don't know what we're going to ask. You have you come in with your questions, but you don't know what other questions we're going to ask to help evolve that question. So
exactly,
it's kind of a fun win-win for everyone because we have fun being the detectives trying to, what else can you tell me? What other things can you heal? And so we get to have that party with your SC as well and getting in there and finding what can we do for you as a client. So
absolutely. Yeah. And so if you would like to have a session, I'm going to go ahead and wind it up because I think we're at that time. If you'd like to have a session, go to QHHTofficial.com and go to find a practitioner. And then you'll scroll down the page and you'll see the search area. And you put in your country, then your state, your city, just break it down like that. Go step by step, and then it'll bring up the people in the area that you are willing to travel to. So kind of look and, you know, however far you're willing to travel. And do your due diligence, and I guarantee you it's worth your while. If you feel like, okay, if I need to go outside of my state, I need to go outside of my city, it'll be worth your while to get a session to if you need to go a little ways.
There's practitioners all over the world. So if there's somewhere you wanted to travel to and you wanted to make that part of your experience, you probably could.
Absolutely.
You could probably be like, hey, I want to go to this tropical island and have a QHHT session. There's probably someone there. So that's really cool.
And if you want to be a practitioner, we have also a QHHTofficial.com. We have courses on that face. It's all on this front page too, the home page. You can see all the information about our level 1 online course, and you can learn step by step exactly the technique that Mom used. That's where all the information came from for her books. And it's what Tracie learned. It's what we, everything, all the practitioners are taught the same technique. And then it's a matter of how much you practice and how much you go out there and do determines where you go with it. How serious you are. Tracie was serious. She's a level 3,
They recommend being serious.
Yeah. So you can go all the way with it if you want to.
Yeah.
And then, and we'll get back to, okay, so let's go real quick. What code can they use? You have a coupon code if somebody wants to use that.
If you would like to sign up for your level 1 and get 10% off, use the magic is real, all one word. The magic is real. That'll get you 10% off of your level 1 training.
Yeah. And then we have a really fun, if you guys want to get, if you want to be together, we're having retreats. We're calling them retreats now so that you know that you don't have to be a practitioner to come to them. But we have this coming up. The next one is going to be in Ibiza, Spain in October, the 4th to the 9th. So, it's a wonderful time to get with like-minded people, and we'll all be there. So if it's something you want to do and let's all get together, come on. But that's our physical. This is where we do things physically.
Absolutely.
Lots of fun activities. So there's information on that on the homepage. And if you'll use the coupon code 5D Bliss, you will get $200 off the price of the reunion.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Can I add a question on to that?
Very cool.
The question is, do people who are not QHHT practitioners ever go to the retreats?
Yes, they do.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one in Hawaii, we had quite a few there.
We had quite a few. Yeah. And I did an event where I stuck a gal in the middle of this circle that I was doing. And at the end of it, she goes, I was so nervous because I'm not QHHT and you picked me. And I'm like, you were exactly the energy. You were perfect for it. So yeah. There's, and beautiful, fun, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It's not QHHT oriented. We only have like one little bitty part that's QHHT oriented. Everything else is like-minded, spiritual, fun. Let's just do our thing, just be together. So yeah, love to see you, love to be with you, love to hug your neck. So yeah. I think we're there.
Up. We're exercising the hugs.
Exactly. Well, we'd love to see you. And thank you so much for being here. This has been wonderful.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.